Hi, I'm Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You, and welcome. I'm excited to have you here tonight because I am going to show you a very cool new yarn from our friends at Noro. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoy the content, I would love it if you would subscribe. And if you like this particular video, go ahead and hit the like. Would love to hear your comments on Noro or this yarn in particular. Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you. Hi, Rita. Hey, Sandy. Good to have you here. So as I said, I want to share with you this exciting new yarn. So this yarn from Noro is called Asaginu. Asaginu. So I looked up the pronunciation of this Japanese yarn, and I learned that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that each syllable in a Japanese word has an equal stress. So asaginu is how I am pronouncing it. So if you speak Japanese and I'm doing it wrong, please feel free to correct me because I want to say it correctly. Anyway, it is called Asaginu, Asaginu, and it is a blend of paper and linen. So isn't that cool? Have you ever heard of paper yarn before? So it's really cool and it's really different, and I'm really excited to share it with you. Hey, Polly. Hey, Arlene. Hi, Carolyn. Christy, oh my goodness, so nice to see you. So it's pretty exciting to have you all here. So let's talk about this yarn. So like I said, very unusual. The actual fiber component is 69% linen, 30% paper, and 1% polyamide. And I want to go ahead and show you what it looks like up close. So let me go ahead and share this screen with you a little bit closer. Okay, so can you see how fine it looks, right? The recommended gauge for this yarn is 16 to 18 stitches over 4 inches, which I think, I think is really loose. So I was surprised at that gauge. And so I started swatching it on a much smaller needle. But it's really kind of interesting to look at, you know, considering how fine it feels. So let me show you again real quick here, if I can. Okay, so let's look at the construction. So as Mary always likes to do, and I do as well, I like to take the yarn apart. So I've untwisted this. Can you see how I've untwisted this? Let me see if I can't get this a little closer for you with my friend here. No, that's not going to do it. Anyway, it's hard to sort of see it, but it's 3 strands of very fine linen twisted around this sort of flat bit of paper. So super cool. Can you see how that's kind of flat? And then there are these very, very fine strands of linen. Here we go. See those fine strands of linen? So, and they're not really plied, you know, they're kind of mushed together. And the whole effect is a very flat yarn, kind of like, almost like a tape. But it has a great deal, a great deal of structure, okay? So if you hold it up, you can see that it stands up kind of almost by itself. Let me show you that here. See how it just sort of stands up all by itself? It's not really flexible or drapey as you might think of most yarns. So it's a very interesting yarn, right? It's definitely not the yarn that you pick up and you see on the shelf and you touch it and you're like, ooh, I love this. It's so soft. It's not, okay? It doesn't have that kind of feel, but it is so interesting and cool. And I want to show you the swatch. There's my iron because we're going to use that later. I want to show you what it looks like when you swatch it. So as I said, the recommended gauge for this yarn is 4 to 4.5 stitches to the inch. But given that it has no loft and it is so fine, I thought, well, let's start it on a smaller needle. And they recommend using a 6 or a 7 to get that gauge of 4 to 4.5 stitches. So I thought, well, let's just see what happens if we put it on a US 4, which is a 3.5 millimeter. So I cast on and I started with that. So let's have a look at what that looks like. Hang on here. Okay. Hey, Terry. Hey, Karen, Gail, Norma. Nice to see you guys. Okay, so here is my swatch. And I always start really small. Let me get this back a little bit. Okay, so you can see that this is the tightest that I did. And I did this, as I said, on a US 4. And when I measured the gauge, I got 23 stitches over 4 inches. And I think that's a super wearable fabric. You know, I have my hand under that. You can't see through it. As I like to say, you could wear a garment out of this fabric and not get arrested. But it's pretty stiff, right? So I went up a needle size, and you can see it's a little wider, and I got 22. And then I went up again here, and I got 20. So 20 stitches over 4 inches. And this is all still much, much tighter than the recommended gauge, right? Let me open this up just a smidge so we can get this higher. Whoop. There we go. All right. So you can see how it looks. And I will tell you that the fabric is not that soft and it's not that drapey. But what I do know is that if you give this a really good steam, it softens up. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll steam it and show everybody what it looks like after it's steamed. But then I thought, you know what? No, I'm going to show everybody what it looks like before it's steamed. And then I'm just going to steam it live. So let's have a look. So I have my trusty iron here that I've been heating up for a while. And this is how I like to block things, particularly things that need really hard blocking. I personally like steam. Everybody's different and you do you. But that's what I'm going to do here. So what I've got is I have a nice wet washcloth right here. And this is on a coconut blocking set. So I know that it's safe to put my wet cloth on and my steamer. So I'm just going to cover this up with my wet washcloth. I'm going to take my hot iron. It's set to linen. And you can hear it. You hear that steam on there? So steam that really hard. And then we'll just have a look at that. Ooh, it's still really hot, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead and steam the whole thing. Now, this steaming is part of the finishing process, okay? Part of the blocking and the finishing, right? The recommendation for this yarn as far as care and washing is dry clean only. So you want to pay attention to what works for you. Let me steam the rest of this. I'm going to make noise. So already with that little bit of steam that we've done, it's already softer and more flexible, right? I'm going to go ahead and hold my iron just over it and kind of dry it out. Just really get that kind of dry. So it really does change the fabric quite a bit. Do you see how nice and flat it is now? Of course, steaming is always gonna change that and make things flatter, but it's definitely softer, right? And if this were knit at a looser gauge, at like the one recommended, I know it would be a great deal more drapey, but the texture of it is already much improved by a nice hard steam. Really softens it up. So what do you think? Is this something you are intrigued by? Is it just too weird, or do you think you might like it? All right, we have a question. Hi, Meredith. Let's see. Does steam blocking open fabric if it's one that grows the same as soaking? Yeah, I'm not sure what would happen with this if you soaked it, because like I said, the recommendation on the fabric is not to wash it. And I don't know if this soaking would be considered like washing it. I really don't know, but I will tell you that what I'm going to do is I am going to wash this. It's just a swatch, right? It's not like I've put a lot into, making a sweater or anything. And I really want to put this swatch through its paces. I want to know what's going to happen. So like you, but what I thought I would do is go ahead and measure the gauge again and see if the steaming has caused it to grow at all. So I'm going to give it another quick dry. So as I said, I got 20 stitches over 4 inches at the top. So let's have a look and see. All right. So here's the section that was 20 stitches over 4 inches. But I will tell you that it's definitely evened it out. The stitches were a little more uneven before blocking, and they've definitely gotten more even with this steaming. So I think the fabric looks a lot better and a lot more wearable. I really like this yarn, I got to tell you. I think it's so interesting and different. All right, where's my needle? Let's count this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It looks a little, that's because, yeah, it didn't change the bottom. Okay, so I actually was, I had it upside down. I was measuring the this bottom section here, which I had done at 23. And I can tell you that it did not change the gauge at all. It is still 23 stitches over 4 inches. So it didn't change that at all. All right, let's see. So do you think you'll have to steam it every time to soften it? So no, I think like all fabrics, and especially linen, and I'm just learning about the paper, okay? So I know that linen softens up more and more and more the more you launder it. Now, like I said, this yarn recommends being dry cleaned. Definitely look to your swatch to tell you what is going to happen time and time again. Like I said, I'm going to take this poor swatch and I'm going to really put it through its paces. I've steamed it. I'm going to wash it. I'm going to wash it in the machine. I'm going to put it in the dryer. I am going to see exactly what happens to this over time. And I will share that. I will share that with you, as we go. So this is a yarn that I plan to make a garment out of, and I plan to do a knit along. So before we do that, I'm going to want to be able to tell you everything I possibly can about this yarn and how it behaves in a garment, how it behaves when you take care of it, when you launder it. So I'm not trying to second guess anything that Knitting Fever or Noro has to say about this yarn. I just want to find out for myself, how that's going to work. So let's see. Hi, Betty. Nice to see you. All right. So I'm wondering in general too, if you steam black pea. Yeah. So you definitely, you don't have to wash it. Like I said, the label recommends dry cleaning, but dry cleaning involves steaming afterwards anyway, right? So I just think that it's always, I think a lot of times yarn companies are very, very careful because, machine wash, tumble dry can be taken a certain way. And, if people are not careful with it and it messes up, I think they just want to make sure that they've erred on the side of caution. So I'll have to ask some of the folks to see, but like I said, I'm going to try for myself. I should have been from Missouri. Isn't that the show me state? All right, so let's see. Carolyn, it's intriguing, but I wonder if I could overcome the thought of wearing a notebook. So you're not going to be wearing a notebook. It actually is really quite nice. And I think the thing I like about it for summer is the thing that I like about linen for summer. It has no loft at all, which means it's not going to trap air. And the fact that it's a little bit on the stiff side means that it's going to stand away from your body a little bit. And the stitches are not going to fluff out. It's not going to bloom. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to have a certain amount of air between the stitches. The fabric is going to be a little bit open, regardless of what gauge you knit this at. At 4 stitches to the inch, it's going to be a very open fabric. You would want to wear something under it. But even at 23 stitches over 4 inches, which is what, 5.5 stitches to the inch, even at that tight of fabric, you can see that it's the stitches are open. You can't really see. Like I said, I don't think you'd get arrested for wearing this, but there's going to be an ability for air to flow through this. So it'll be very, very cool to wear. And I love that for a summer garment. I think that's just wonderful. Hi, Gwen. Let's see, will the steam eventually break down the paper? Very interesting concept. I don't know. That's what we're gonna, that's what we're gonna find out when I wash it a bunch. So we will just have to see. Hi, Anna. Let's see. Coconuts has an accessories tote that is made of paper. It is incredibly durable. I love it. Hey, that's a good point. Speaking of coconuts, I think that some of the designs that Coconuts has are really in keeping with the aesthetic of this yarn. I mean, I love Coconuts, and the way that she designs things to be worn at a loose, a fine yarn, particularly plant-based yarns, knit at a very loose gauge, creates such a beautiful and modern aesthetic. So she has a picture of Petra. If you look at at that. Maybe we'll go through that on Ravelry if we have time. Just to sort of see how elegant and modern this fabric is. I have swatched it, as I said, at a tighter gauge just to see what it looked like at what I consider to be a sweater fabric. But again, that sort of modern look, I think, is just beautiful. Hi, Colleen. Nice to see you. Let's see. I am super interested in this yarn. It was the first. Yes. Okay. So great. I did send this out. If you were at the retreat in February, I did a Noro yarn tasting as part of your little goodie bag. And this yarn was in it. It hadn't even been introduced yet. So I'm glad you tried it, Peggy, and I'm glad that you liked it. I would be interested if you steamed it and what needle size you did it on. So if you want to share that with me, I would love to know. Do I have any pattern suggestions? Oh, yes. Okay, so Polly, yes, that's my concern that it wouldn't hold up. So like I said, I'm going to give it a try. We're going to see if it will hold up. I kind of think that if you are careful with it, and I'll turn that off. If you do dry clean it, that would definitely be the safest thing. Like I said, I'm going to wash and dry this half a dozen times. I'm just going to put it in the load every time I do a load, and we'll see what happens. It doesn't feel fragile, but again, I don't know. We're going to have to take care. So if in doubt, absolutely dry clean a garment that you make out of this. If you are, willing to play with your swatch a little bit, absolutely do that too. So let me share my screen. You've already seen this a couple times. This is the Knitting Fever website. I do have all of this available in stock right now. I don't have the colors up there, so I will do that. It's just one of those things. It's taking me a little bit, but let's look at this really close. See, can you see how the yarn is really flat? I think that's so pretty. I'm going to remove that for now. Can you see how it's sort of flat when you look at that? And it comes in great colors. So, I mean, a ton of colors. I bought all the colors, and they're really, really pretty. The linen and the paper just take the dye beautifully. So in the current issue of Noro magazine, we have a number of garments that are designed just for this yarn. So this is one. This woman, Laura Zuccotti, designed, I think, 4 garments for this yarn in particular. And this was one that's very pretty. And she did do it at that more open gauge. So you can see that it's something that you would wear over, a cami or a dress. And I think that's just lovely. Now, as we go through these, I would love it if you would tell me which ones you like, because that's going to help me figure out what we do as a knit along. So I'm super interested in your thoughts on these different garments. Like I said, these that I'm going to show you first are all in the current issue of the Noro magazine. All right, that one, and then this one. Again, she's taken that, the fact that it's an open lace and made an actual mesh out of it, which I think is just beautiful. Very pretty. Nice detailing on the bottom. She has a turned hem here, which gives the garment a little bit of weight at the bottom, which I think is really, really pretty. This is another one from the magazine. That same lace mesh fabric in an open cardigan, which is very elegant and drapey. And then here is the last one from the magazine, which is just a stockinette with that same kind of open feel. Very pretty with a ribbed trim on that. Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And then there's a whole host of patterns that Noro themselves came out with just for this yarn. So this is one this little bucket hat. This is crocheted. And, you know, bucket hats are huge this year, especially for the younger girls. So a little crocheted bucket hat, I think, is gorgeous and fun. They have a little bag. This cute little bag. Again, this is crocheted, I believe. Yeah, crocheted bag. Very cute. It's perfect for crochet, this yarn too. I think that's really fun. All right, what else we got? Okay, this is one of them. I think I actually have these already up, don't I? Yeah. Okay, so this one's really cute. This has a little bit of texture to it. Can you see? I think this is knit sideways. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is knit sideways, which is always a challenge, but it gives a cute effect. This is a cute one. This little, just kind of easy breezy tank. Definitely a layering piece. This is a cute one. This is just a, you know, a simple open vest. Just something that you take kind of, you know, just for a color act, just for a little pop of color or something, you know, kind of cute and modern. Vests are huge. I don't know if you remember seeing the talk that Trisha Malcolm did on vests are the new shawls, right? This one's my favorite, of course. I just love this long layering tank. I think that's beautiful. It's very Eileen Fisher, you know? I think it's beautiful. And you could do it with or without this contrasting bit at the armhole neckline, and it's also at the hem. But you wouldn't have to do that. You know, you could just do it all in one color. Very fun. I love that. And this one is also super cute. This reminds me of Unwind, which we did in the Kakagori last season. Has that same little stitch pattern. Very pretty. So super cute. Colleen loves the pink top. Is this the pink top that you like? Or is it a different one? Because I love this one too. I think it's so pretty. And then the last one is, oh no, that's not the last one. There's two actually. So this is just kind of a drop-shouldered t-shirt with a little bit of a lace panel in the back. I think that's pretty. Here it is in the front, just simple styling. With an elbow length sleeve and, you know, an oversized kind of fit. I think that's pretty. The color is gorgeous, isn't it? And then this is the last one. Where are we? Yeah. So that's a little open lace top. Very pretty. So tell me if you like those. I think those are cute. And then I had a bunch that I pulled that I thought were cute that were not Noro designs. So let's see. I like this one. This is at 20 stitches in 4 inches. I thought that was cute. And you could definitely do that in this top. I like that one. Where was I? Oh, and I thought this was cute. Now it would be a lot more open than this one, but how cute is that, huh? Little bit of lace work in the back. What was the other one I had? That was it, I think. Okay, so those are the garments that I thought were really cute. And I think I would love to hear what you like. So, and I'll do another swatch in in a looser garment, a looser gauge. But, oh, I wanted to show you also, I think the one, this coconuts one is really pretty. So let me find that for you and I'll share that. Yeah, love this. Here, let me do this. Look at this one. Isn't this pretty? So this is what I was talking about, how Coconuts does all of the these that are worked at a much looser gauge. I think this is just beautiful. I'm going to show you in a full screen. Can you guys see? I love this. I think that's just beautiful. Asymmetrical. Tell me how you feel about asymmetrical. I guess it isn't asymmetrical. One of the ones she did was asymmetrical, but I think this one's super cute as well. So tell me in the comments which one you like best. Carolyn likes the pink top. I think Colleen liked that pink top. Arlene likes Thea. Betty, the orange tunic. I like that too. Yeah, isn't Thea cute, Meredith? That would be really adorable on you. So the open vest. So maybe what we should do is have pick a pattern and knit along whichever one you want. Just get your Asaginu and then, we'll all work a different project that we like and then compare notes. I would also be interested in your thoughts on the gauge. So if you are thinking about this, if you have a little bit of it that you got at, one of the various events, would love to hear what you think about, the different gauge. Whether you would like it at a loose gauge or whether you would rather wear something that was a little more opaque. White sleeveless tank. Yeah, isn't that pretty? I love that. I think that's just beautiful. So I could kind of go on and on about this for a while, but what I think I'll do is I'll make another video or maybe do another live on this at the larger gauge, and we can talk all about swatching at a larger, looser gauge and how to measure a swatch like that, because that's a whole nother way of swatching. So anyway, I did just want to share with you about this yarn and show you what it is and just kind of take a little of the mystery out of the paper. I hope Knitting Fever isn't too angry with me for steaming the yarn in front of everybody. But anyway, thank you guys so much. And I'd be happy to hear any comments that you have, either, now or after the fact that you have, or questions that you have about the yarn. I'll be happy to try to answer those. And look for another video on this yarn super soon, because we are going to do a knit along on it. So thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a great evening.